All rise. The court is now in session. With the permission of Honorable Judge, the case of B.B. Wolf versus the Curly Pigs now be heard.
Be seated. This is the case of Wolf versus Pigs. As I understand, the charges against the pigs are of injury to Mr. Wolf. There was an attempt to cook him. Now, are there any opening statements? Your Honor, in this case, we'll show you that last August 19, the defendant, Mr. Pig, did indeed attempt to cook my client. We will show that he placed steaming cauldron of boiling water in a spot where he was sure Mr. Wolf would show up, and even his cookbook was also found to the recipe of poached wolf. Thank you, Your Honor. Does the attorney of Curly Pig have any opening statements? Your Honor, Mr. Wolf's charge is ridiculous. We will show that the cauldron was inside Mr. Pig's home. Mr. Wolf was forcibly trying to enter. We will also show that Mr. Wolf had for a long time harassed the pig family. Harassment that include the eating of Mr. Pig's two brothers, Larry and Ho. We will show that the Curly Pig was only protecting his home and life. Very well. Call your first witness. I call B.B. Wolf as my first witness. Please raise your right paw. Do you swear that the evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Please be seated. Please state your name. My name is Big B Wolf. Big and beautiful. Most of my friends call me BB. Where do you live? Oh, I've got a nice little den inside the woods at the edge of the forest. You know it's Redwood Penny. I've got a pretty nice stereo, so I don't happen to the forest very often. Do you have a kitchen? Well, I eat out a lot, you might say. Yes. Well, let's move on to that morning of August 19, 1981. Do you recall whereabouts on that morning? Yes, I do. Quite clearly. I was taking my usual morning stroll as I passed to the house of my old pal, Curly Pig. I was at the Millionaire's house. It was well made, so I thought I could pay Curly Pig a visit and said to him that just anyone knocked at the door and called out his name, but there was no answer. So I knocked harder and called out louder, but there was still no answer. I really did wanted to see my old buddy, and then it hit me. Curly Pig was probably sleeping in, so I tried to think of a way I could get inside and wake him up. I thought, and it came to me, I could climb the chimney. So did you? Yes and no. When I was all the way down, Someone took the lid of this pot of boiling water. Someone who wanted me to fall into the kettle. Objection! The witness is guessing at my client's motives. Agree. Objection sustained. Sustained. Continue, Mr. Wolf. Well, lucky for me, the steam was so powerful that it just boosted me right up. So I took off there and decided Curly Pig was no more my friend. Did you have any injuries? Well, I lost few of my hairs to my backside and could not go for work for a few days, and I lost wages that is $2,000. No further questions. Does the defense wish to cross-examine? Yes, Your Honor. We have Mr. Wolf. You previously testified that you were on your usual morning stroll when you happened to visit Mr. Pig's home. Is that correct? Yes, you see, morning walks are good. And you also testified that you do not normally get into that part of the neighborhood. Is that true? That is correct. Mr. Wolf, you were specifically looking for Mr. Pig that morning, weren't you? What? Yes, but no further questions, Your Honor. Mr. Wolf can step down. You can call your next witness. You can call your next witness. I would like to call the CC Wolf. Do you swear that the evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Would you state your name for the court? My name is Cici Wolf. Cici is cute and cuddly. What is your relation with the baby wolf? I am Bibi's dear old mother. You recall the events and took place in last August? Yes, of course. That morning, as Bibi does every morning, he called me to see how I was doing. He's a very good boy, and he takes the care of me and all the animals in the neighborhood. He every day brings a stray animal and takes care of it till it is ready to go back to the forest. He's such a kind and gentle animal. Yes, I'm sure he is. But kindly answer my question. What happened on that day? He told me that since it was a beautiful morning, he would take a stroll to see the new homes built by the edge of the forest. He wanted to get some ideas to decorate his own den. What happened then? He comes to have dinner with me every day at 6. But that day he did not come. I was worried. I don't play it when he plays in the woods at night. It's not safe with so many dangerous animals out there. Did he come to your house that evening? Yes, he did, but he was very late. He was upset as he was missing some fur from his backside. He said that Curly Pig tried to cook him in a cauldron of boiling water. Curly and Bibi were best friends. I did not believe it. So, they were best of friends? Yes. They went to animal school together. Curly and his brothers used to come to our house. We have made a mud puddle in our backyard. Thank you, Cece. Do you wish to cross-examine? Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Wolf, why are you doing? Fine, thank you. You testified that we got animals from the forest to take care of them. Is it true? Oh, yes. You also said that when he was done, you released them back to the forest. Is it true? Yes, that is also correct. Did you ever see it with your own eyes? We were returning the animals to the forest? Not exactly, but they were not around the house. So I just figured that he returned them to the woods back. He was always very good at returning things when he borrowed from others. Your Honor, no further questions. Mrs. Wolf, you may step down. We will now hear the Curly Pig's evidence. Your Honor, as my first witness, I call Mr. Jackson. What is your name? My name is Jack Smith. What is your occupation? I run the J. Smith building supply company. Mr. Smith, are you familiar with the pig family? Well, I've got dry a few bit pigs among my customers. There's Sporty Pig and Hiddly Piddly, and of course Miss Piggy. Then let me be more specific. Are you familiar with the three little pigs, Larry, Moo, and Curly? Ah, yes. Now that is a sad story for you to hear. Just how is it you came to know the three little pigs then? Well, when their poor mother sent them out into the world to make their houses in their own ways, they each came to me for building materials for their houses. The first mother, Larry, came to me and asked for a bundle of straw to build a house. I told him, "Kid, this isn't going to give you the tightest security for it. Instead on straw." So I sold him a bundle. Just, do you know if that house ever got built? Oh, it got built all right, but it didn't last long. Just what do you mean by that? Well, right after he got built, he had a nice little warming party. The other day, the old wolf was over there. He's always up to no good. It was a week before that. He was making trouble on the other side of the forest for little Red Riding Hood and a poor granny. Objection! This testimony about Little Red Riding Hood of come no use to the case in at hand. Objection sustained. Miss Wood's attorney is correct. Proceed. Mr. Smith would try to stay on track. Oh! Well, the wolf came over to the little pig's house and said, little pig, let me come in." "Oh no, by the hair on my chin. So the wolf got mad. and said, I'll huff and puff and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed and puffed and down came the house and ate up the little pig. I heard. Did I hear you correctly? Did you say he ate the pig up? Yes, indeed, Your Honor, with your plotting major photocide. Objection. I don't think we need that kind of character assassination from the witness. Sure did. Sustained. Mr. Wolf's attorney is correct. You, Mr. Smith, did you not also sell building materials to Curly Pigs other brother Mo? Sure did. He wanted to build with sticks. I tried to talk him out of it. I said, you know, dear, you don't have a lot of draft with house, not to mention both problems. But he had his mind set, so I told him a lot. And can you tell me the court, the present state of the house? The present state it no more exists. As soon as Mo had the cabin finished, old Bibi stopped with his little pig, let me come in, Gertie. And Mo said, oh no, by the end my chin. The wolf said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. And he did that just and ate up poor little Mo, same as he did Larry. Bibi really didn't have any ill intentions towards those pigs. And what about the curly pig? I was glad when Charlie came to me. He wanted to make his bed out of bricks. A nice little tortilla was just what he had in mind. I really must object this entire line of questioning, Your Honor. The witness testimony is pure hearsay. He never actually saw any of these things happen. Justine, perhaps you could move to another line of questioning. Your Honor, and through this witness, if Mr. Smith could step down, I would like to call my client Curly Pig to stand. Please state your name. Curly Pig. Please state your name. Curly Pig. What is your address, Mr. Pig? I live at 283 Steel Land, just off Mud Avenue. Now, Mr. Pig, are you familiar with Mr. B.B. Wolf? Are you, as he has testified you as his good old pal? Are you kidding? That gold in chips floating? Now, wait a minute. Just because I'm wearing my shirting suit, you cannot point fingers on me. He is just trying to look innocent. But he is not. Let me tell you. Gentle animals, please, if you don't stop this bickering, I'll have to hold you both in contempt of court. Let's proceed with the questioning. Going back a bit, then, Mr. Pig, how did you first come to know Mr. Wolf? Well, not under the friend list of circumstances. I started knowing of him very and cooked and blew in the houses of my brothers, Larry and more. Nobody told this guy that he cannot begin until somebody's house. Then, did you come? When did you come to know Mr. Wolf personally? After he got my brothers. I guess we thought I'd be easy to get big. What he did not know was that I'd built my house out of bricks. And so when he came over one morning with his cheap little pig trick, I just told him no way by the hair on my chin and kept watching TV. I laughed when he huffed and puffed. I just went into the kitchen to make myself a small snack. Anyway, all the while I was in the kitchen, I could hear him out there. When I went to bed, I could still see through a small hole which I made. And that was the last you ever saw of Mr. Wolf? Well, I did not know it, but he had this look in his eye, and then he started climbing up the side of the house. At first, I couldn't imagine what he was doing, but then I understood that it was the chimney. So I rushed to the fireplace. I already had the big pot of water on the boil for my tea and took the lid off. I only wanted to warn him off. How was I to know? He was already climbing down the chimney. Thank you, Mr. Pig. Thank you, Mr. Pig. That's all the questions I have. I really must object this entire line of questioning, Your Honor. The witness testimony is pure hearsay. He never actually saw any of these happen. Well,
No, we
maybe
have
I
to
was
stop. 1 minute. 1 minute.
I'd like to cross-examine the witness, if I may, Mr. Pig. I've been listening to your dealings with Mr. Wolf, and it seems to me that you were teasing and backbiting of my client. Wouldn't you say that's true? Well, maybe I was having a little fun with the old boy, but seeing as he was trying to eat me, that doesn't seem like such a great crime, does it? I'll ask the question here, if you please. What about the reports that the cookbook next to your fireplace was found open to the recipe of roasted wolf? Is this true? Yes, but it is not how it seems. I had opened to warm apple pie. I was going to bake one with my extra apples, but then one of the seed of the cauldron. I guess it's the short of scheme must have flipped a few pages forward to the page of roasted wolf. You expect the court to believe that? Well, it's the truth by the hair on my chin. But you just testified that you had the. Well, it is the truth by the hair on my chin. But you just testified that you had water boiled for tea, not apple pie. But I always say hot tea with my apple pie. Any questions? Did you ever intend to cook Mr. Wolf? No! Mr. Pig, you can step down. Your Honor, we have shown that Mr. Pig did lift the lid on the cauldron just as Mr. Wolf was coming down the chimney. His cookbook was also open to the recipe for roasted wolf. I'm sure the jury agrees that he was attempting to harm to Mr. Wolf. He also had medical bills and lost wages. I think that the wolf should be compensated for his loss. Your Honor, we have shown that Mr. Wolf had it for the pig family. Clearly, he was up to no good any of the times. He came over to Curly Pig's house. Mr. Pig was minding his own business when Mr. Wolf began harassing him. I'm sure the jury will agree that his lifting up the lid of the kettle and his cookbook opening to the wolf recipe, just as Mr. Wolf came down the chimney, was mere coincidence. We did not mean any real harm to come to Mr. Wolf. Thank you. Does that conclude the evidence? Yes, it does. You now have heard the evidence. Now it is your job to decide whether Mr. Pig was trying to harm Mr. Wolf or it was the wolf who had come to eat the curly pig. Have you read the verdict?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
What is the verdict?
The primary moral lesson learned from the Three Little Pigs is that hard work and dedication always pays off. While the first two pigs quickly built homes and had more free time to play, the third pig labored in constructions of his house of bricks. And I would like to add, there is no shortcut to success. Thank you.